r/NoSleep. Posted by u/adventurous Jump 8551. I always go on late night walks. There's a set of rules I have to follow to ensure my safety. I've always loved going for walks at night, just something about it feels different, compared to during the day. Ever since I was a kid, I suffered from a lot of insomnia, so me and my mom would just go on a lot of walks for me to eventually feel tired. But when I became older, I've become cured from my insomnia thanks to the walks. But now that I no longer have it, it's just more of a hobby for me now. At first I used to walk during the day, but during the beginning of the year I started to take more walks at night. With that being said, my town has a low crime rate. You can walk at night without having a fear of getting robbed, stalked or even killed. I come from a city with a high crime rate, so when I moved, walking at certain times became more enjoyable without having to be paranoid. But during my walks, I've experienced a few strange encounters which caused me to take extra steps to ensure my safety. The first time this happened was around early January. From what remember it was around 1 a.m. at the time and I was just halfway through of finishing my walk, when I saw something in the distance. Also, just to throw this in, it's very rare to see a person walking around at night, also because of the population as well. Which makes my town more deserted at the dead of the night. Anyways, back to what I was saying. In the distance, I could make out a figure. It looked about half the hay of a street light. I assumed it was a utility pole and kept on walking, but as I kept getting close and closer, I started to make out its appearance more. The figure seemed to have rough skin and moss growing on its body, with its fingers being as long as a pencil. It also didn't seem to have eyes and its mouth was hung opened. Which was the most creepy part about it. I stood there what felt like hours paralyzed with fear. Honestly, I'd never seen anything like that before in my life. After a few minutes of me and that creature staring at each other, it made the first move. Taking one step, I quickly made a run for it and took a different route home. Locking all of my doors and windows, that night I didn't sleep. As I was paranoid that it was probably looking for me. After that I was questioning what I had just saw. Was it even real? Was it just my mind playing tricks on me? I had so many questions, but they just didn't fit. That night, I decided to take that same route again. With me bringing my phone to snap a picture of it, to see if I was really hallucinating or not. As I was halfway done with my walk, nothing really happened. With me even walking past the same location, I saw that thing. But as I was approaching my house, that's when I saw it again. It was near my fucking house. I quickly grabbed out my phone and zoomed in on it. I managed to get more details of its appearance, at the time. With it having bandages across its face, claws that could easily tear through your flesh and bones. My gut feeling was literally screaming at me to run away, but I didn't. I stood there and I observed it more. That's when I got a notification from my mom and I quickly looked away just for a second to turn the sound off. But when I looked back, it was gone with no traces. I quickly made a mad dash to my house and of course locked my doors and windows. Of course I didn't sleep again because of my huge paranoia, especially since it was near my house. When the morning came, I turned on my TV to watch the news. That's when something caught my attention. The broadcaster was explaining how a girl aged 17 was found dead. It's said that she went on a walk after having a fight with her parents and this was the same time. I took my walk and encountered the creature a second time. I was really freaked out. Honestly I was. That day I decided to take precautions to ensure my safety and I don't end up like her. For 3 months, I studied the creature's behavior and pattern to make sure the rules I was going to make was accurate and didn't backfire. Trust me, it was hell having to not try and get killed by that thing. But I succeeded and made my set of rules. I even thought of a name and called it the Hound. Anyways, I'll get straight into the rules. Rule 1, if you ever encounter the Hound, never, and I mean never, go near it or even try and follow it. You'll end up losing your life in the process. Rule 2, if you ever hear a blood-curdling scream in the distance but the Hound is nowhere to be seen, quickly hide somewhere, preferably under a car or in a bush if you're nowhere near your home. Rule 3, if you've encountered the Hound at least once in one night it's nowhere to be seen, please don't go to your home for over a week, it's waiting for you. Rule 4, if the Hound ever starts running toward you, then I'm sorry. There's nothing you can do. You can try and run but it'll ultimately catch up to you. Rule 5, if you ever wake up at night, to see the Hound staring at you from the corner of the room, don't be fooled, you're not dreaming, it's really there. Don't move a single muscle and try go back to sleep. Rule 6, if you have horrific nightmares about the Hound for 2 weeks straight, get someone to cleanse your home. I don't care if you're an atheist or you don't believe in ghosts, Just do it. It's for your safety. Rule 7. If you get a phone call or a visit from the police telling you that your loved one has died due to unknown reasons, then I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do. The Hound is going on a killing spree, murdering all of your loved ones, and you'll be next. After making the rules, I managed to go on my walks without having to fear of getting murdered by the Hound. The next day, someone knocked on my door and it was the police. I was told that my parents have both been found dead due to unknown reasons and it's being investigated. That's when Rule 7 started to ring across my mind. That night, I was waiting for something to happen. But nothing did. While I was in my room watching TV, I heard a loud crashing come from downstairs. I quickly turned off my TV and quietly listened to what was going on. That's when I realized it was the Hound looking for me. I heard more crashes coming from downstairs. I knew it was looking for me. I quickly hid in my closet, praying that it wouldn't find me. That's when it entered my room. It didn't trash it or even look to find me. It just stared at the closet. It's been 2 hours and it's still staring at the closet with me inside. I know for a fact I'll have to eventually come out and face it, but I just don't have the courage. I've called the police 1 hour ago and they're still not here. I think I might come out and face it. Quickly get it over and done with. Goodbye. r/short scare stories. Posted by u/adventurous, jump 8551. My neighbor keeps staring at me. At first, I chalked it up due to boredom since I heard that he was quarantined after testing positive for COVID. But after that ended, he kept on doing it more and more, sometimes even coming outside of his house to stare at me. He doesn't even try and make it not obvious anymore. After 2 months of dealing with this, I decided to report him to the police. I watched from my window as 2 officers knocked on his door. He of course went downstairs and opened it for them. It looked like they had a mini chat before the 2 officers came inside his home. But what really creeped me out the most was that after they went in, my neighbor and the 2 officers were staring at me through his window. And here's the thing, I had my curtain pulled to a certain minimum so he couldn't easily see me. But they did. When nighttime came, the 2 officers and my neighbor were still staring at me. Heck, they hadn't even moved a single muscle, to go to the toilet or even eat. That next day, I decided to call my friend to see if he'd help. He's a pretty strong guy and knows how to defend himself in any dangerous situation. I told him about what's been going on and he said he'll have a chat with the guy. I thanked him and he went to knock on his door. It seemed like he had a mini chat with my neighbor when all of a sudden he also went inside of his house. That's when my neighbor, the 2 officers and my friend were staring at me. It's been a week since my friend has turned into one of them and I've noticed they have been slowly exiting the house and coming towards to my home. I can't even call the police or even run away, because anytime I try and unlock, break my window or door, it's like something strong is preventing it. I've even tried calling the police but I get no signal. I know for a fact I'll become like one of them, so that's why I'm writing this post as a final goodbye if my family ever comes looking for me.